The hours between sunset and sleep. Those hours decide who you will become. While most waste them in distraction, a few turn them into the most powerful time of their life. And this is the story of a young man who discovered that the key to changing his life wasn't hidden in the mornings, but in the nights. The city lights flickered alive as the sun dipped below the horizon. Skyscrapers glowed like giant lanterns. Streets buzzed with noise and neon signs painted the night in color. But inside a small apartment on the 7th floor of a worn-out building, a young man named Aryan sat slouched on his bed, his phone screen glowing against his tired face. Another evening was slipping away. He scrolled aimlessly, tapping through videos, laughing at memes, answering meaningless messages. Hours vanished. Midnight approached. His eyes burned, his head throbbed, yet his thumb kept moving. And then, like always, guilt came creeping in. "What am I doing with my life?" he whispered into the darkness. He wanted to change, wanted to build, to grow, to become someone greater. But every night ended the same way. Wasted, drowned in distraction. One evening, after another long day at work, Aryan came home with dreams still echoing in his chest. He wanted to start his side business. He wanted to learn a new skill. He wanted to read, to write, to do something that mattered. But as the night wore on, comfort pulled him back. He ordered fast food. He scrolled again. He told himself, "Tomorrow, I'll start tomorrow." Hours passed. At 2 a.m., his screen fell on his chest as he drifted into restless sleep. But that night, something strange happened. He dreamed of a giant hourglass, taller than him, filled with glowing golden sand. The sand poured endlessly from the top, each grain sparkling like a star before vanishing below. He tried to grab it, but the sand slipped through his fingers. The more he tried, the faster it poured. A voice echoed, "Every grain is an evening. Once it falls, it never returns. How many will you waste before you realize what they're worth?" Aryan woke in a cold sweat. The dream clung to him like a warning. The next day at work, the dream haunted him. He couldn't shake off the image of the hourglass. For the first time, he saw evenings differently, not as empty hours to relax, but as golden grains slipping away, never to return. That evening, when the sun went down, Aryan put his phone on the table. He looked at it. He looked at himself in the mirror, and he asked aloud, "Will I waste tonight too?" His reflection stared back, tired, unfulfilled, disappointed. "No," he whispered, "not tonight." Instead of sinking into his usual routine, Aryan picked up a notebook. His hands trembled, his mind screamed, "This won't last, you'll quit." But he ignored it. He wrote 3 words: "Use your evenings." Then he listed the things he always wanted to do. Start his business idea. Learn public speaking. Get in shape. Read books that grew his mind. The list stared at him like a challenge. For the first time, instead of wasting the night, he spent it planning. And when he finally went to bed, he felt something unusual: peace. The next evening, the old temptations returned. The couch whispered comfort. The phone buzzed with notifications. His brain begged for the easy path. "Just relax. You had a long day. Tomorrow will be better." But he remembered the hourglass. He imagined golden grains falling one by one, vanishing forever. He stood up, shut off his phone, and opened his notebook. That night, he researched his business idea. Just 1 hour, not much, but it was enough to light a fire. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, his evenings transformed. One evening, he drafted his first business plan. Another evening, he signed up for an online course. Another, he went for a night run under the stars, his lungs burning, but his spirit alive. Another, he read a book that shifted his entire way of thinking. The city still buzzed outside with noise and distraction, but inside his little apartment, a quiet revolution was happening. Each evening became a brick, and brick by brick, he was building a new life. But growth never comes without resistance. One Friday night, after a hard week, his friends called him out. "Come on, Aryan. Just one night. Don't be so serious." He almost said yes. He almost slipped back into old ways. But then he remembered the hourglass, the voice. He looked at his desk where his notebook waited. Every grain is an evening. He declined politely. That night, instead of losing hours in empty noise, he created his first small online product. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was his. Months passed. Aryan was no longer the same man. He was sharper, calmer, and more disciplined. The evenings that once slipped away into nothingness had become his most valuable hours. One evening, while sipping tea by his window, he realized something powerful. It wasn't that his life had been against him. It wasn't that opportunities were missing. It was that he had been wasting the time he already had. The hours after sunset had always been there, silent, waiting, holding the potential to transform him. He just hadn't seen it. Now he understood. Nights were not for wasting. They were for building. 1 year later, Aryan stood in front of a small audience delivering a talk about his journey. His business had grown, his body was stronger, his mind sharper. But he didn't tell them about money or success first. He told them about the hourglass. He said, "The world tells you to work hard during the day. But what about the evenings? The evenings are where dreams are built. Between sunset and sleep, you have the power to transform your life. Don't waste those hours, because one day, the hourglass will run out, and you'll wish you had used them." The audience sat in silence, his words sinking deep. And now, my friend, the story turns to you. Every night, you face the same choice Aryan faced. Will you scroll until your eyes ache, or will you use the hours to build the life you dream of? The evenings are your secret weapon. If you waste them, you waste your life. But if you use them, you will transform. Not someday, not one day, but starting tonight. So ask yourself, what will you do tonight? If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs this wake-up call. Comment below. How will you use your evenings starting tonight? Subscribe to Life Lessons Library for more powerful stories that open your eyes, touch your soul, and transform your life. Remember, don't waste your evenings. Transform your nights, and you will transform your life.